Hey everybody, this is Sean with Forge Blade Works here. Hope you're all doing well. Just saw a video from my buddy Gabe, same town as me, or just about, with his hurricane preparedness items for Hurricane Lane. And I posted a video yesterday, more on my EDC. So I kind of wanted to continue the trend and show you some of the preparations we have for this hurricane with regards to not just the storm, but just general life here in Pahoa. So it's raining right now, as you can kind of see. I'm in the rain as is. I got a hat though, it's all good. And let's start with this thing right here. This is, I don't actually know the capacity. I think it's a 7,500 gallon water catchment tank that was previously installed. That's actually our main water supply for the house. Now, we use that all the time. There's some advantages and disadvantages. Disadvantages, you're in charge of your own water supply. If something breaks with that, or the pump that's behind your house, it screws up the entire thing. Something happens, you don't have water, so you got to fix that yourself, or you got to call a plumber, more maintenance, etc. Oh look, it looks like we're finally getting some wind. By the way, the time right now is 6:19 p.m. and this is Pahoa, Hawaii, in the midst of Hurricane Lane. I never see wind like this up here. Never. We're at about 525 feet elevation. So, and we're in the middle of a forest, so usually the wind doesn't blow quite like that, so we might finally be getting some of the real effects of the storm. And anyway, in terms of water supply, while everyone else is filling bathtubs full of water, we are just going to rely on that thing. We also, because we don't drink out of that water catch, we don't have a good filter for it that would allow us to drink from it. We actually store extra bottles of water in the kitchen, about 15 gallons at a time. And we just fill it up from the local reservoir, which is safe, and it's actually really good water, the best water I've ever had in the entire state, including Maui, Kapalua area, which is pretty high up there. Anyway, so besides for the water catch, we also have some vehicles, but there's some solar panels on the roof, which we don't own. They actually are run by one of those solar companies like Sunrun. They actually have a hopefully, if you couldn't hear me before, you can now. I had something stuck in the mic, or the earbud socket. Anyway, so what I was trying to say was that the solar panels are not owned by us at all, so they are connected to the grid. If the grid goes down, we don't have any power. In the rare event that we got separated by a natural disaster like a hurricane from the grid, I'm kind of tech savvy enough to probably take those the wiring from the solar panels and then wire them up to one of the batteries of these possible vehicles here. Maybe even that vehicle, even though that one looks a little unmaintained. Anyway, besides from that, there is a abandoned shipping container structure in the side lot of this house. This would be like my last ditch, but in the event of a really bad storm, that scary looking structure over there could possibly hold us if there really was no better place to go. I thought of that after I posted that video. Yeah, the wind is definitely picking up. Look at that. It's exciting. I mean, I've been worried about this kind of thing, and to anyone who has lost property or anything, I'm not trying to enjoy this at your expense, believe me. Those clouds are hauling right now. Can you see that? Can you guys see that? Those clouds are moving their asses to wherever they're trying to go. Anyway, I've been someone who has lost a lot. I lost my entire home last year, and I used to live on a sailboat basically, and we were shipwrecked last year. The damage was too much for us to afford, so we lost our home. And long story short, I'm no stranger to catastrophe. When we moved here, and I had to deal with a lot of other issues, including the lava situation, it became pretty apparent that we were going to live some adventurous lives. And at least as of this moment, I feel like for situations like this, we should try to appreciate the power of nature, and we should try and help people rebuild. But at the same time, like I said, we should try and appreciate the power of nature, and that includes any sense of awe or just excitement. I dare say it. I mean, I'm probably living where I was last month, in one of the most at-risk places that we understood. One of the most at-risk places for lava activity. We possibly could have lost our home. We didn't. And we thought the hurricane was going to affect us, and right now it seems to be making this kind of bubble just around this little high point in the topography. So, I mean, you just really never know what your blessings may be or may not be. So that's getting a little deep. In any case, what we're talking about is preparedness. We've got water, we've got solar. As you can kind of see, we live in the boonies. And there's nothing here except a couple lots with houses, our neighbors and their resources and trees. So if one of these major trees, as you can see, falls over on a power line, that power line will be cut off until they fix it. No joke. It'll just literally, until someone takes that thing off and fixes however many trees fall on top of it, we're on our own. So I've got a generator in the house, a small one, 800 watt. It won't do a whole lot more than run some lights. It won't do much more than light or run a laptop, maybe. 800 watts really is not a whole heck of a lot. I don't even think it'll run the coffee maker. But in terms of keeping lights on, in terms of maybe it might keep the freezer cold. We have both an open door two-part fridge freezer combo, but we also have a top open or open top freezer, which, considering it is frozen right now, it might be perfectly okay to go. It does also have ice pre-made. We filled that thing up before the storm came by. I started making ice a day or two ago, and basically I stocked up the whole ice tray. Oh, there's some more wind. I stocked up the whole ice tray full of ice, and it's good because at least if the power does go out, that freezer should stay cold for a long while with the extra ice acting as kind of like a thermal battery. Also, I love iced coffee, so this morning I didn't have to even think about it. I just threw a couple ice cubes in my coffee. Besides from that, I mean, the house really is pretty proven, which is surprising. This house on the inside is poorly designed. It's got all of the wrong design choices. The bathrooms are all in the center of the house, which means that there's no ventilation, and you're constantly keeping those ventilator fans on to keep it from molding and stuff like that. But I'll show you kind of a front view here. There's the main structure. It's kind of long, and it's got a little garage overhang over here, which is my knife workshop. And you know, some bamboo in the front, lychee tree over here. But it is pretty well cleared compared to a lot of other properties. If you were to look over here, there's some ohia, but really the skyline over here, besides for this tree, because that's kind of close, you can see the skyline is pretty clear. And if I was to walk a couple streets over, part of hurricane preparedness also just has to do with your landscaping, because honestly, especially when you're living in the middle of the jungle or something like that, a storm isn't just the winds, the waves, it's not about the flooding. It's also what the hell can, I mean, the effect of the wind, and effect of the wind, the trees. People get cut off all the time, not just power-wise, but what if one of these big things behind me, your house, whatever structure you might be living in, what happens when one of these is too close, and with the soil as thin as it is, or just high winds in general, it snaps off, falls on top of your roof. Now your little hole-in domicile during a storm, your shelter, has been damaged because in the bushcraft community we know that you're supposed to look out for widowmakers, right? And for all those that don't know, a widowmaker is basically a dead or dying tree or a dangerous tree that might be precariously too close to where you're going to be sleeping. So this is no joke, a direct correlation between wilderness survival / bushcrafting skills and the real world. And here comes the rain. Here I am on Kapu Lane. But in any case, we've got potential for power. We've got cold storage. We have got water supply. On top of our drinking water, we've got water supply. Whoa, hi there. We are rural enough where we don't have to worry about neighbors. Crime is a possibility. I've got a couple solar lights, you know, the cheap $1 or $2 ones that you get at Walmart, just as a backup lighting supply, because as it turns out, the rate of burglarization or crime is not directly proportional, but it is affected by your ability to keep your house well lit, organized, etc. People are probably going to be less likely to try and break into a house. They know that you're still there. I mean, cars in the front, it helps as well, but there are some people that, you know, will break it. I don't know. We've got problems here. We've got drug problems and stuff. But I mean, if it looks like someone lives there, they're less likely to try and break and enter. They don't know, especially if you keep yourself separated from that element of society, they're less likely to know if you're armed or if you're, you know, how capable a person is when they come into a property, which is the way you should try and keep it, because honestly, it's just an unknown, and people tend to fear the unknown, so I'm cool with that. So solar lights, we've got a heck of a lot of candles. My girlfriend has a candle thing going, which is great, because I mean, that's like immediate light. I've got a whole bunch of lighters at home. I've got extra propane supplies just for a little gas grill. That's helped a lot. It's just one of those little cheapo grills that you'd buy at like Long's or something, and actually I didn't even buy it. It was just in the house when we moved in. Besides from all that, I mean, so we've got water, we've got power, or potential for power. We have got a hardened yet decrepit shelter that we could potentially stay in if we needed to. The house is cleared of potential fall debris. We do have some junk in the backyard, a lot of building supplies and stuff. I tried to get rid of some of that stuff, and unfortunately it didn't happen the way I wanted it to. I'm losing light here, so I'll make, oh man, what am I at? I'm at 14 minutes. I gotta hurry this up. So we're clear of fall debris. We've got some supplies, we've got lighting. We're actually also doing a kitchen renovation. We started tearing out cabinets and stuff, and we're gonna replace it. I'm not funding this, by the way. This is the homeowner wants to make the house nicer, which I'm so thankful for. The house was totally jerry-rigged from the start. But we basically pulled out the cabinets, and as of right now, I got a police department warning text message. Yes, I'm recording this on my cell phone. Where was I? Basically, our food supply is decent. I thought we had a lot more after the missile scare. I stocked up again and that's the Hawaii missile scare, by the way, in January. So we had that, and then we had the eruption as the second major thing. So I stocked up on that. Also, there was so much rain this winter. I stocked up even more during the winter just after January because I had so little work. I was worried if we were going to run out of food. It was just pouring. I only had sometimes as little as 1 or 2 days of work a day out of a supposed 40-hour work week. We've got, so after basically that event, so the volcano event happened, and then we moved on to Hurricane Hector, which was a near miss. I wasn't super worried, but I did stock up some then, and now I stocked up again for Hurricane Lane. And long story short, I know this is getting to be a very long story. I ended up moving my stuff out and stuff, and I've got, we got the staples, but when I really took a look at an inventory of our pantry, it was a lot smaller than I thought. It was about, maybe three cans of pasta sauce, a lot of tuna, etc. But I mean, we're going to be fine for the recommended 14 days. Honestly, the last time this house was cut off, according to the owners, it was out of power and isolated for about 6 weeks. So there are some benefits to having your own water supply. It comes off your roof, water catchment, etc. It's good to have solar panels because not worrying about keeping the generator gassed up is important. Anyway, it looks like the rain's coming in again. Hard. Rain's coming in hard. Shush, Malachi, it's me. Alright, well, I'm back. Yeah, it's raining now. It's been doing this all day. We'll see if it gets any worse. I will make another video if it merits it, really. I just kind of felt like we need to give an update on the house. Workshop. I do have a foundry, by the way, another kind of side prep. It's nice to have something that is really well insulated when it comes to fire. You can throw a couple pieces of cardboard in there and it will burn for maybe 10 minutes or whatnot, and it gets really hot. You can start throwing logs in almost right off the bat. So having an insulated fire pit of some kind or a fireplace, really important. Anyway, just a little update, a couple side items, just a quick overview of my my preparations for this storm, which we're kind of in the middle of. Anyway, hope you found this informative. We are safe so far in Puna. This is Sean, Steve Forged.